I spent 9 very long years serving in the Army. During those years, I went on 3 big trips to fight in wars that were very far away from my home. There were so many long, dark nights where I just sat and wondered if I would ever get to see my family in my house again. I had to survive many scary things, like bombs hidden in the dusty roads and people who were trying to hurt us from far away. I even had to stay by my very best friends and watch them take their very last breaths. None of those hard things broke my heart or my spirit, though. What really changed me forever was a small sound I heard right behind my own bedroom door one sunny afternoon. I saw a man's brown leather jacket hanging in my hallway, and I knew right away that it was not mine. I was still wearing my Green Army uniform, and the heavy duffel bag I was carrying just slipped out of my hand and hit the floor with a loud thud. That is, when I heard my wife's voice coming from the other side of the door. She sounded so soft, happy, and comfortable. Then, a man's voice answered her. He asked her when she was finally going to tell me the truth about the 2 of them. She just laughed a little bit. She said she did not have to say anything at all because I was still far away across the ocean. She told him I would never find out what they were doing. At that exact moment, I realized that the war I had survived overseas was nothing compared to the one waiting for me right inside my own house. I did not kick the door open or start shouting. Instead, I quietly pulled out my phone and pressed the record button. I knew those next 10 minutes were going to change my whole life forever. My name is Riker Vaughn. For 9 years, my whole world was about 2 main things: serving our country and coming home to the woman I loved. Every single paycheck I earned while I was away in the dirt and the heat went straight into a bank account for our future together. We wanted a bigger house, money for the children we hoped to have one day, and the nice vacations we always talked about in our letters. While I was sleeping in dusty military tents, I really believed she was at home waiting just for me. It turns out someone else had been sleeping in my bed for a very long time. I walked into the living room and sat down on the couch. A minute later, the bedroom door opened. She just froze when she saw me. All the color left her face, and she looked like she had seen a ghost. She whispered my name, Riker. Behind her stood a man I had never met in my life. Neither of them said anything for a long time. I looked at him and told him he had 30 seconds to leave my house. He grabbed his shoes and ran out the front door without saying a single word. She started crying right away. She said she could explain everything to me. I looked around at the family photos on the walls. One picture showed us smiling at the airport before I left for the war. Another showed the house we had built together with so much love. Everything looked the same as I remembered, but those pictures did not mean anything to me anymore. I told her I did not need an explanation because I had already heard enough of her voice through the door. I picked up my bag, walked out into the fresh air, and never stayed another night in that house again. The next morning, I hired a very good lawyer. I did not want to get revenge or be mean. I just wanted a peace in my heart. While the lawyer worked on all the papers, I started organizing everything like my bank records and the help I earned from the Army. Then, my kind neighbor from next door stopped by to see me. She gave me a small envelope and said she thought I should have the photos inside. They were pictures of a big black pickup truck in my driveway. That truck was there on weekdays, weekends, and even on Christmas morning when I was away. This had been going on for almost 2 years. Every time she told me she missed me on the phone, he was already there inside our house. The court hearing was very short and quiet. She admitted to everything she had done wrong. The judge finished the divorce exactly how our legal papers said he should. There were no big speeches or yelling at each other. When we walked out of the courthouse, she asked if I hated her. I looked at her and told her no. I told her that hate takes too much energy, and I had stopped giving her my energy the day I walked out of our house for the last time. She cried, but I just kept on walking toward my new life. 8 months later, I moved to Montana for a new job. It was a smaller town with big mountains, a fresh start, and no sad memories to follow me. One rainy day, I went into a small bookstore to find something to read. A woman reached for the same book I did at the exact same time. She smiled at me and told me to take it. I smiled back and said she saw it first. Her name was Claire Ashford. To her, I was not just a soldier or a man who got a divorce. I was just Riker, We talked for many months about books and music. I finally found the peace I was looking for. There were no lies or secrets between us, just honesty. 3 years after everything happened, Claire and I stood by a quiet mountain lake. I asked her to marry me, and she said yes before I could even finish asking. That evening, I found my old army bag. My uniform was in there, and so was a phone with that old video I took. I watched it one last time, and then deleted it forever. I did not need it anymore. Sometimes life does not hurt you by telling the truth. It saves you from living a lie. The hardest day of my life was not coming home early. It was the day I realized that coming home early was the luckiest thing that ever happened to me.